All right, so I'll be sharing my screen from here. I hope everybody can still hear me, please. I just need someone to respond so that I can continue from there. All right, thank you. So I'll be presenting my screen to you right now, and we'll kickstart from there. So I have the pleasure to co-teach this class with Joy Ayonda, my co-teacher last 2 weeks. We are here together on this show, and I hope everybody will and we'll all enjoy ourselves today and have a good time even as we proceed with our training. Yeah, so this is my screen, and okay, yes, yes. Can you does your phone support voice screen recording? Oh, you're using laptop. Okay, 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 okay. Lawrence, Joy, do you guys have any suggestions towards that? Or you could log in through your phone too. Okay. All right, good. Thanks. All right. Thanks, Mr. Yemi. And I think I was going to use. I think I downloaded um, David's work. I think I downloaded David's work. All right. All right. I think David's work. Yes. So this is what we'll be using for today's training. And as I've said, I have the pleasure of co-teaching this class with Joy Ayonda, who happened to be my co-teacher last week. So, Joy, please, could you say something to the class? Can we hear from you? Hello, Joy. Are you there? Um, Okay, yeah, I can hear you now, Joy. Thanks. You're welcome. All right, you're welcome. Thanks, Joy. All right, so this is the map that we were given to work on that time, and this is what we will be doing justice to today. All right, so let me just navigate to where I saved David's work, and I'll bring in the shape files that he has created. All right, so this is David's work. So this is state boundary. Bringing them in. Okay, I think David has not been able to digitize them completely. This is river. This is the international boundary. He's done with that, and these are the centroids. I think he's done with the centroids. So, all right, before I go too far, I think I would need to, use my own data at this point because I think David's work is not complete unless Tolu's work is complete. But then I don't want to waste our time right now. I need to proceed right now, really. All right. So as I've said the other time that these are your shape files. This is your raster data right here. What we are looking at right now is your raster data. It's just an image, but then you've georeferenced it, so the software can recognize it as a map right now, and then you have digitized it, meaning you have created layers, you have created vector layers from this raster layer, and then from there you can actually do further editing. So these are the centroids, this is the major river, the international boundary, and then the state boundary. So on a normal day, your international boundary should not be on your state boundary. The state boundary should be on top of your international boundary. All right, but then can you see these options right here? When you have these options right here, you can use this particular list by drawing order. This first option, list by drawing order, to rearrange whatever you have on your table of content. So if your option is on this list by source or list by visibility or selection anything, you won't be able to move your shape files on top of each other. But if it's on list by drawing order right here, you can move your international boundary down, and then you have your state on it. So it means whatever thing you arrange here, it's how they will be arranged on the map right here on this data frame. Do you understand? So how they are arranged here is how it will be right here. So maybe you have a major river and then you have roads. Obviously, the road will be on the river. It's not that the river will be on the road like normal. When you have a road and a river, the road is always on top. So you should be mindful of how you arrange your data, arrange your shape files on your table of contents. Imagine if I have the centroids right here. Okay, let me change the color of the centroid. I think we've known how to change symbol colors and all. So let me change the color so that it will become visible. All right, so if I have the colors, if I have the centroid right here, and I maybe it's on the international boundary, it won't be visible right here on the data frame. So you need to like make sure your map, your centroid is at the top, or better still, make your international boundary hollow without any color. Increase the width and then click OK. So your international boundary becomes very very visible. It depends on whatever color you want to use for the outline. I can decide to use something like this for my outline, and I can decide to use another style of line uh, um, for my international boundary. It's just on how you want it. I think we are following up. So something like this. This is boundary, national boundary. So you can just have it like this, then change the color. Just doing this so that we won't have to go over them all over and over and over again. So you can actually manipulate the same thing you can do for your um, other features, but then you must follow standard cartographic rules. So your major river, obviously your river should be in blue. So let's select river and then increase the width. But then this width, okay, it's not too bad actually. But then let me just use something like 1.2 or something. Yeah, 1.2. It should be cool. All right, so this is your river, and then and all that. All right, so in the first place, by the time you finished your digitizing, you will have something like this for your international boundary. All right, and then even if you have done for the state too, provided. All right, so let me just bring in my own state boundary. Let me remove David's one and bring in my own state boundary. Coming. All right, this is the state that is digitized for the sake of this training. So it means David was as accurate as possible with his international boundary, because they fit kind of with the initial map that I gave. If it wasn't as accurate as possible, you see some slight deviations. Let me show you something right now. Let me bring in some shape files that were not from here, and you see how. Oh, sorry. I think. All right, let me just continue. I think I've lost touch of where I saved the maps. I hope you can hear me, please. Can we hear me? Oh, all right, very good. Thanks. All right, very good. All right, so assuming you just finished the digitizing, this is what you will have. This is, how your map will look like. So what you need to do right now is come to your state boundary, click on it, then put it on hollow, and then come to your international boundary, put it on hollow too. All right, so doing that, your raster data becomes visible, so you can know what state was under. So with your state boundary having a field color, you won't see the states. You won't know which state is which. You can, based on your idea, you can know, okay, this is your state, this is Osun state, this is Ekiti state, this is Ondo state, this is Lagos state, this is whatever, this is Delta, this is this, that. But then, this is Akwa Ibom, this is Borno, this is Sokoto. But then, like a layman would not know. So what you need to do is put it on Olu and come right here. So it becomes, transparent. Then what you do right now is come to your state boundary. Now what we are doing today, the first thing we'll do is we'll do symbology, we'll do labeling, we'll do population of attributable, and then we'll go on to map embellishment, which Joy will facilitate. So but before Joy comes in, I just want to show us how to populate our attributable. Now we said something that when you are converting your raster data to vector data, you are trying to make it editable to suit your own taste. All right, assuming this map that I gave you now, that we gave you rather, was showing geopolitical zones. You might not be interested in geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Then you might want to convert to something else. That is the essence of digitizing and georeferencing. All right, so this is what we'll do now. Come to your state boundary. I hope everybody is following, please. All right. So come to your table of content, right click on state boundary, and then come to open attribute table. So it is whatever you have on your attribute table that you will use to symbolize your map. So come to open attribute table, and then you see that you have, you know, your the digitized polygons. So you have total of 37, and obviously we have 36 states in Nigeria plus FCT making 37. So we have a total of 37 polygons right here. So if you've done some, mistakes while digitizing, this is what will make you know. Sometimes if you see something like maybe 38, 39, 37, it means you have digitized one boundary more than once. And that is the essence of using the autocomplete polygon. So you must be sure that you have just 37 polygons right here. All right, so if you click on this arrow, this end here, you see that a state will be highlighted, which is Sokoto state right here. And then click on the next one, you see this is Zamfara state. Click on the next one, you see this is Katsina state. Click on the next one, you see Jigawa state, and all like that. So depending on how you digitize, if you digitize Sokoto state first, then Kebbi, then Niger, then whatever, that is how it will be lined up here too. So now we want to populate our attribute table. We want to make our attribute table rich. This is our attribute table. We only have this ID, which we might not be able to use for anything reasonable. So the first thing you do is come to this table options. Now, come to this table options, click on table options, and then you see something like add field. Sorry, it's loading. All right, so you see something like add field right here. So click on add field, and then select, put a name, like impute the name of the field that you want to create. So I want to create something like state, so it's going to be something like the state name. Sorry, the state name. All right, so this is type. Now, what do we call type? The type will determine the characters that will be imputed on this field. So this state that I specified like this as name is going to be something like this shape, ID, and FID. So it's going to be on the same line with all this FID, shape, and ID. Then the characters that will be inside will be something like this. All right, you can see that this FID has characters, figures. They have figures, while this shape has what? Text. While these ones too have what? This ID field has figures too, zeros. So now that is what this type is talking about. What do you want to impute here? If it is short integer, something like if you select short integer, it means your data is something like very small numbers. Let's say something like 1 to 15, 1 to 7 or something. Then if it is long integer, you could maybe your figures are something like maybe 7 to 15, like they are not bogus figures, they are not something like 2 million something. Then if you select, that's for long integer. If you select float, float works like Excel sheet. By the time you are typing in an Excel sheet, if zero starts your figures, something like 0 1 2 4 7 2, I'm just assuming, then it's going to erase the zero, the first zero. So that is how float works. So most times when you are dealing with numbers, I prefer to use double, because why? It supports decimal, and then it makes your number to be in its original form, so your number retain its value. Then we have text. Text, your alphabet, just like we have as polygon here. So maybe you want to write Kebbi, Niger, you want to write Ibadan, you want to write United States, you want to write COVID, stuff like that. You use text. Then obviously date is date. So for this particular field I want to select, the name of the field is state. All right, so let me ask someone, David, what type of field do you think we should create for this particular field? All right, very good. Thanks very much. So it means you are following. So we are creating text for this, and then this is the length. The length is just talking about how long this field is going to look. So let me just put. They are not really long text. So let me just put something like 20. Even if I put 20 and it's too long, we can still reduce it attribute from the attribute table right here. So now another thing is, by the time you want to write the name of your attributes of your field, please don't ensure that it is less than 10. Something like state. Okay, let me just make sure it's above 10. All right, by the time I click OK, it will tell me that the specified blah blah is invalid because it is too long. So do you want to automatically rename the field to state state? Now state, if you count the number of characters there, is just 10. Do you understand? So most times make sure the name doesn't exceed 10. So maybe you are trying to say population density. All right, it won't even go right here because I've put space, and we've said that in GIS make sure you use what underscore instead of what space. So if you click on these two, it won't go. So it's telling you that can you rename it to population because this one is less than 10. So if you want to do something like population density, you can just use something like pop then, and then it goes. But then right here we are creating state. So let me just put it as state, the length as 20, and then I strike OK. All right, so it might be too long for me, so I can just come here to reduce the length. If this one is too small, I can actually come and expand it. This two I can expand. So it's very flexible to use. So you can reduce, you can even reduce it to, and if a field is not useful to you, can reduce it to any length. So let me just um bring it back to where it is. So this is our newly created field state. So right now we will come back to our editor toolbar. Don't forget your editor toolbar. So come to your editor and then start editing. Now if you don't start editing, you won't be able to type anything within so I'm trying to type now. You see, no character is actually showing within this place. So if you want to do the editing, if you want to type with your field, just do what? Come to your editor and start editing. Then select the feature that you want to edit, and that's the state boundary. So I click OK. If I click OK and try to type, I could type now. All right, so the next thing is trying to impute the name of the state one after the other. So this is Sokoto state. So I'm going to do Sokoto state, Sokoto. Then this is what? Zamfara. So I hope we are following. So if you have your laptop, please follow me, like right now. Please follow me. All right, the next one is that's Katsina, if I'm correct. Please, if I'm making a mistake, someone should call me back. All right, the next one is Jigawa State. And the next one is Kano. Please, you can follow if you have your work with you. So this is Yobe State. If you have any questions, please call me back. And this is Bono. And this is Gombe State. This is Gombe State. This is Bauchi. This is Adamawa State. This is Plateau State. This is Kaduna State. This is Niger. This is Kebbi. This is FCT. This is Nasarawa State. Sorry. This is hey, sorry. I didn't remove the cursor from it. FCT, then Nasarawa. This is Ekiti. Are we following, please? All right. This is Osun State. Sorry. Kwara. Hey, sorry. All right. The next is Osun. This is Oyo State. This is Ogun State. This is Ogun State. And the next is Lagos. And the next is Ondo. The next is Delta. And Bayelsa. And Imo. And this is David State, Rivers. Oh, sorry. This is Rivers, and this is Imo. This is Anambra. I'm sure Stevie is not from Anambra. Please, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, please? Hello, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me, please? All right. Sorry. All right. My internet was interrupted, so I'm trying to get back online. All right. Thanks. So this is Enugu. This is Abia. Yes, Abia State. That's where Joy is from. And this is Akwa Ibom, my own state. This is Cross River. Sorry. And this is Kogi State. That's where Lawrence is from. And this is Benue State. And this is Taraba. Nobody's from Taraba here. All right, so we've punched attributes. We've populated the attribute table for state. So you can always whenever you are done imputing your attributes, just come to your editor toolbar and save edit, just like you did when you were digitizing. So save your edit. Now I want to do something. I want to create another column for geopolitical zone of these states. I want to prepare another column, another field, just like I created for state. All right, so let me come here. Can you see that my hard field is not highlighted? My hard field icon is not highlighted. Can we see it? Oh, all right, all right. So why it is not highlighted is because my editor is active. So before you can create a field, make sure you do what? Stop editing. Do we get? So if I stop editing right now and come back to table options, you see that the field is active. Can we all see it, please? Oh, all right, very good. So don't forget that the other time when we created a field, we cannot impute anything on it until we started editing. But then the truth is, if your editor toolbar is active, then you cannot still create a field. So it's obvious. Before you can create a field, stop editing, and then before you can type into the field that you have created, start editing. Just as simple as that. So let me just create let me create another field called geo. Don't use hyphen and don't use space. So let me just use geopolitical zones. Now, obviously, it won't go because the name is too long. So I can just use something like geopol. All right, Steven, what kind of field type do you think we are going to create for this? Exactly. Thank you. So we use text and then the length. What are the geopolitical zones? We have the northwest, northeast, north central, southeast, southwest, south south. So let me just use something like 30 as the length, and then we proceed from there. All right. So this is the geopolitical zone. You can decrease the length of this whatever to, because they are really not important to me right now. So these are what's important. If I try to type now, it won't go. Like nothing is going to show because I've not started editing. So let me start editing. And then let me just, this, I'm still working on my state boundary, right? So let me just put the state boundary and then okay. All right, don't forget that okay, before we proceed, let me just chip this in about your sorting of the attribute table. Now you can see that these names are just random. It's not that they are sorted alphabetically or something. So if you want to sort them alphabetically, just come to this particular place, this particular column where you have the state here. Just double click on it. Once you double click on it, it arranges them. This is alphabetical order, like ascending order, Abia, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, blah blah, till the last, which is Z. And then you can still double click on it here, and then it arranges them. It inverts the arrangement, descending order Zamfara, Yobe to Abia. Do we understand? So even if they are figures that you have here, so maybe the highest figure is 10 and then the lowest is 1. If you do like this, then it's going to start from 1 to 10. And then if you double click again, it's going to do what? 10 to 1. The other way you can do it is right click on it. Once you right click on it, you see something like sort ascending and sort descending. So if you click on sort ascending, it's from the smallest to the highest. It gives you. And then if you click on sort descending, from the highest to the lowest. Same thing for numbers, same thing for anything you want to sort on your attribute table. All right, so I want to create a field for, I've created a field for geopolitical zone. So please, as I'm okay, let me just quickly go to southeast, because Abia is in southeast, right? Right. All right, so I'll try to create for southeast. So Abia is southeast. Now what I'll do is, let me just copy and start pasting for every other southeast state. So Anambra too is southeast, right? All right, so please be telling me other southeast states. We have Ebonyi state. We have which other state is in the southeast? Sorry, Enugu. Which other one? Imo. Where is Imo state? How many states do we have in the southeast, please? Are we there? Enugu. Okay, yes, I think there are five. So I think we are done with southeast. All right, so let's go to southwest. Let's talk about Ekiti state. So this is southwest. So let me just copy and start pasting for other southwest states too. All right, so I have Ekiti state. Which other state in the south west? I have Ogun state. I have Ondo state. I have Osun state. I have Oyo state, and then I have Lagos state. Where's Lagos? Okay. All right, one, two, three, four, five, six. So we have six states in the southwest. So let me go to the south, where we have Akwa Ibom. So this is south. All right. Apart from Akwa Ibom, which one do we have? We have Bayelsa. We have Delta. We have Edo. We have Rivers. Which other one do we have in the south, please? Am I missing anything else, please? Can we all hear me, please? Can we hear me? All right, and you can see my screen very well, right? All right, all right. So, I said, was I missing anything else in the south? Okay, yes, Cross River. Thank you. I think I my network was broken at that point. So Cross River for South too. Thank you, David. All right. I think we are done with South right now, and then let's get to another part of the country. So let's go to North Central. North Central. So we have Benue State, if I'm correct. Lawrence, am I correct? All right. So North Central. All right. Don't forget something. When we say you cannot use hyphen and space, that is for naming your shapefile and for naming your field. But when you are within this particular field, sorry, someone's mic is um unmuted. You can please up mute yourself, please. So when you are imputing your content within the attribute table, you can use space, just like you have for Cross River here. You can see that Cross River, Akwa Ibom, I use space, Cross River, I use space. So you can use space, and then you can use hyphen too, just like you've seen here. But if it is, in creating a field, you cannot use space and hyphen. And if you are creating a shapefile, you cannot use space and hyphen. All right. So for North Central, we have Benue State. All right. Which other one do we have in North Central? FCT, right? Kogi State, Kwara State. Are we done with? Are we done with that? Niger State. Thank you. Niger, Nasarawa. What about Nasarawa? Yes. Oh, Northeast. Nasarawa is not central. Yeah, Nasarawa is not central. Plateau State. Okay, 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 okay. Plateau, not central. Which other one do we have left? All right, I think we don't, right? Hello, can you hear me? All right, are we done with North Central now? All right, so let's move on to Northeast. Northeast. So obviously Bauchi is Northeast. So we could have used find and replace to run all these things, but then let's just put it like this. So we have Borno State Northeast. We have Gombe State Northeast. Which other state do we have in Northeast? Is Jigawa part of it? Yeah, it should be. Which other one, please? Taraba. Which other one do we have in the Northeast, please? Yobe. Yes, thank you. Then, okay, so I think we can go to the Northwest now, where we have the rest of the states. So this is Northwest. All right, so we have Kano, we have Kaduna, we have Katsina, and then we have Kebbi, and we have Sokoto State, and we have Zamfara State. All right, so we've created another field, and then don't forget to save your edit. And if you want to create, oh sorry, Adamawa, imagine. Adamawa is not east. Imagine. I missed the house. All right, so save your edit. All right. Oh, Jigawa Northwest. All right, thank you. Okay, so save your edits, and then if you want to, there's nothing I want to edit again. The next thing I might want to do is to create another field. So let me just stop editing and then move on from it. And as I've said the other time, you can actually do the sorting too. Just double click or right click and click on sort ascending or sort descending, anyone you want. All right. Now we've been able to create at least two columns, and right now so far you've been able to create the names of each state within this shape file, this particular state boundary shape file. Then you can always, all right, please, can we hear me? I had a disconnection again. I'm sorry. All right, so far you've been able to populate your attribute table for here. Then I just you can always remove this, and then you still work with what you have here. But then right now let me still put it here and still continue to work with it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do right now is create a field called area. Create a field called area. So we want to measure, it's not that you use your hand to measure it or calculate the thing. We want to measure this particular state boundaries one by one after the other. We want to measure them one after the other, such that we'll be able to know, okay, what is the size of this particular, what is the size of Kano State, what is the size of Jigawa State, what is the size of Yobe State, what is the size of Borno State, and all like that. So it's a very simple task. What you do is project your map. Just like we've said, map projection is a mathematical model that converts the curved surface of the earth to what flat surface, such that calculations and measurements can be made. So it's more like you are trying to convert from projected geographic coordinate system to projected coordinate system, just like we said UTM zones that we use for such things like this. And then you don't forget that we said when you project your map, it introduces what? Distortions. It introduces, you know, it introduces some kinds of distortions. It could be area distortion, it could be distance distortion, it could be bearing distortion, it could be anything. So what we'll use now is hello, sorry. Can you hear me, Lawrence? Hello, can you hear me, Lawrence? Hello, Lawrence, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me, please? All right. I'm very sorry. Like it was a call that kept coming in from my hand. Actually, I'm very sorry about that. All right. So, what I was saying is, it's more like we are trying to project our map from geographic to projected coordinate system. And I said projection is a mathematical model that converts your map, your data. Like it's a mathematical model, and it causes distortions. It introduces distortion into your work. All right. So what we'll do right now is come to these layers on your table of contents. Come to the layers and then right click on it. Now let me check this so that you can see how distorted our map will look. Can you see that this map is looking straight right now? So by the time you introduce the projection, you will see how it will look. Now don't forget, I was saying something that I wanted to create a field for what? Area. So let me just create a field for area, and you remember we go to how we create our field. So you would sorry, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, please? Oh, all right, very good. All right, so come to state boundary, right click on it, come to open attribute table, then click on table options, then click on add field. So let me call it, sorry, area. And then Mr. Yemi, please, what kind of type do you think we should create for it? All right, I said we want to create a field called area. Are you with me now? Are you with me, please? Yes, I can hear you, Lawrence. Okay, okay, yes. All right, thanks. So I was saying we'll come to the state boundary again and click on open attribute table. Then yes, yes, I was going there actually, but I've not completed that part. I want to show you something before going back to that aspect. All right, so you come to your state boundary, click on open attribute table, then table options, add field, and create a layer called area. Now let me say, let me calculate my area in square kilometers. Let me calculate it in square kilometers. So area in square kilometers. So I was asking Mr. Yemi, please, what kind of field type do you think we are going to create for area based on the previous explanation? Okay. No, text cannot work. Your area is going to be calculated in figures. So text is actually out of it. All right. If we use long integer, then it might not support decimals. And your area could be it could have decimal points. So I think the best thing to use is double based on the explanation that I talked about the other time. So we are going to use double for this. All right. So then it's going to bring you precision scale. Just leave it like that and then click on OK. And then you have your field created. All right. So as I've said, you want to calculate area, it's not by hand. So if you want to calculate area, just right click on the field that you just created right now. So you right click on it, you see something like calculate geometry. Can we see it, please? All right, very good. So you click on calculate geometry. So it will tell you want to calculate outside of an edit session, that whatever thing you do cannot be undone. So do you wish to continue? Fine, yes. Then can you see something like property? This is just talking about, okay, what exactly do you want to calculate? So you just click on this space, and then you see something like area. You see disabled, and you see perimeter disabled. Now, why is area and perimeter disabled? Because this projection that we have right here is geographic, not projected. Can you see it? GCS WS 19 for this geographic coordinate system. Ah, Lawrence, can you hear me, please? Oh yeah, thanks, 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 thanks. I think oh, all right, all right. Stephen, I'm very sorry for that. Now, Stephen, did you get how we created the field for area and then the field type that we used? All right, very good. All right, the next thing you do is right click on the field on this, on this space. Just right click on it. Once you right click on it, um, you see something like calculate geometry. Can you see my screen? Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right, but can you see my screen right now? All right, so right click on this area in square kilometer, then click on calculate geometry. So once you click on calculate geometry, it will ask you, do you want to perform the operation you want to perform is outside an edit session. That if you calculate it, you cannot undo your result. Just click yes. And then I was saying something that your area is disabled and your perimeter is disabled. Why? Because you are using a geographic coordinate system, just like you have here. The data source, it is what GCS, that's geographic coordinate. So what you need to do is what? Convert it to projected coordinate system, and that's all we need to do. So you go back, close your attribute table, then come back to your layers here. So Mr. Emi, this is why I was talking about layers the right time. So come back to layers, right click on layers, and you see something like properties. Are we following, please? All right, so right click on the layers and come and open your properties, and you see coordinate systems right here. So click on the coordinate systems, click on coordinate system, then you have it. So I've favorited WGS 1984 and then UTM zone, UTM zone 31. But let me just go to where it's supposed to be. So when you were creating your shape files, you were using geographic coordinate system, but right now you open projected coordinate system and then go to UTM. So from UTM, go to WGS 1984, and then Nigeria is on the northern hemisphere in Africa. If you look at the map of Africa or map of the world, you see equator, that's latitude 0 degree. Nigeria falls above the equator. So the equator is the one that divides the world into two equal halves, where you have the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. That is why for Nigeria, if you're working on the Nigerian map, you need to choose what? Northern hemisphere, because Nigeria falls at the top of the equator. All right. So, but if you're working with any country below the equator, that's southern hemisphere, obviously. So expand the northern hemisphere and then look for WGS 1984 UTM zone. Don't forget that we said Nigeria falls between zones 31, 32, and 33. So based on your location, you can use 31. If you are close, if your location is more like right here, this particular end, you can use zone 31. And if your location is between this end and this end, you can use 32. And if your location is between this end and this end, then you can use 33. So for me, I'll be using UTM zone 31, and then I'll apply it. And then okay, can you see that my map is a bit distorted now? Can you see evidence from this raster data? Can we all see it? All right, so that is the essence of, that's why we said when you are projecting your data, there is a lot of distortions that will be introduced. All right, so I just checked this raster data so that you can see how distortions are introduced into your work. All right, this is what I'm concerned with anyway. So now I can right click on my state boundary again. I think, did we all get how I projected the data now? Please, I'm waiting. Did we get how I projected the data? All right, very good, very good. All right, so you come to open attribute table. So this is my area now. This is my area, and then I right click on it, come back to my calculate geometry, click yes. Then you can see that your area is enabled already now. There's no disable in front of it again, and then your perimeter. Now, if you look at the coordinate system, you can see that it has changed from GCS here to what? PCS. All right, cool. So then the unit. What unit do you want to calculate your area? Don't forget I've specified square kilometer here so that I won't get it mixed up. If I just create area and I don't put the unit that I intend to use, if I execute the operation, another person that wants to use my work or my shape file might not know that, okay, this is particular unit. That's why I specify the unit. If I want to use square meter, I'll just put square meter, but right now I want to use square kilometer. So just come to unit here and then drop it down and then click on square kilometers. And if you want to use hectares, you have it. If you want to use acres, if you want to use square meter, square miles, square foot, anything, square decimeter. But then right now I want to use square kilometers. So I'll select square kilometers and then click OK. So it will still tell you the same, that you do want to perform this operation outside an edit session. Just click yes, and then you have your area populated already. Can we see it? Yes. So you see that this is the area of Plateau State, 270. All right, thank you, Lawrence, for saying that. All right, so this is, and as I've said the other time, you can actually sort your data too, from highest to lowest, lowest to highest or something, sort ascending, sort descending, anyhow you want. So this is it. So the same thing for your perimeter. You can do the same thing for your perimeter. Just go through the same process. Just make sure that your data is what projected, not in geographic coordinate system. All right, so it is very easy to convert your data from projected coordinate system back to geographic coordinate system. Just come back to the layers, the same way you take it to projected. Come back to your properties. If you are not interested in calculating anything again, just come back to your layers, properties, and then if you have favorited your WGS, you can just click from here and apply. But I don't want to do that, so let me just go back to my geographic coordinate system, world, WGS 1984, then apply. Can you see that my map is back to normal here? Can we see? All right, very good. So it's so when we say, okay, projection involves mathematical modeling, it involves calculations. It is not that you are the one that is doing the calculation by your hands. It's just some clicks away from execution. So that's about that. So right now I can always remove this my raster map. I don't want to have anything to do with it again. So I have my full map ready right now. So the same way you created a field, the same way you created field for your state boundary, you can create field for your centroid too, just to make sure, okay, which centroid is in which state. So you can add field on your centroid too. So let's say state too. Then obviously we are going to use text. Then you can decrease the length to let's say 20. Then you click OK, and then you have your whatever. Then you start editing too. You start editing. So what you want to edit now is not state boundary again. It is what? Centroid. So click on centroid and then you have it. And then you can always, so which state is this again? I can't remember. Sorry. So this is Abia. So just type Abia and so on and so forth. All right. That's that about that. So the next thing we are going to do now is, now you have populated the attribute table of your map, but then you still don't have the names on this particular map data frame. So what you now do is to label your work. So what you do is to label your work, and then you know that's the next thing I'll be taking right now. So what you do to label your work is just come to your state boundaries, or if peradventure you've put tags on your centroid, so just like you did for your state boundary, you've put a field here, and then you want to use that field to label your work. Then you don't need to come to your state boundary, come to your centroid instead. So what I'm trying to say right now is, whatever thing you want to use to label your map, wherever the field is where you what label from. So if the field is from state boundary, you label from state boundary, and if it is from centroid, you label from centroid, and if it's from major river, you use it too. The funniest thing is you can label your major river, label your centroid, and still label your what state boundary. Now this centroid too should have ID, which is 000. So we will try to label three things right now. So let me try to create a field for the major rivers too. Let me say name, and it's going to be text, uh, 10. All right, so let me start editing. What I want to edit now is the major river, so I have it here. So major river, open attribute table. This is river Niger, so I can just have something like river Niger, and obviously this is river Benue. I have river Benue, and then let me just stop editing, save. Yes. All right, so we want to label the state now. So just come to your state boundary, right click on it. Are we together, please, before I proceed? All right, very good. So come to your state boundary, right click on it, then come to properties. So once you come to properties, it opens another window for you. It opens another window for you, and that's where your majority of how you manipulate your data frame, that's where you have it. So you see now, because I think I labeled, I think the last operation I performed here is labeling. That's why it's on label already. So yours might be on general. So just come to labels here, click on labels, then can you see label features in this layer, that is this state boundary layer. So just check it. If you don't check it, it's not going to be labeled. All right, so it's saying label field. Which of the fields do you want to use to label your work? Which of the fields that you have created on this state boundary? Is it state name? Is it geopolitical zone? Is it what is it called? The population, or the area rather. So the ideal thing to use to label right now is what? The state name, right? So if you use the ID, let me try it. Use the ID, then apply. You see, whatever is on the ID field will be used to label your map. And what was on the ID was 000. So, but right now, let me just use the appropriate field, which is the state. All right. So once I use it, then just select the field that you want to use, state, and then click apply. Then you have your state names pop up on your uh on your map. So you can vary the font size here. You can put it on 12, bolding it, and then apply. Then they become so much conspicuous on the map. If it's too much for you, reduce it. You can do so many things which we might not be able to touch. We might not be able to touch everything right here. So we've labeled our state now. So obviously you can carry on with this to do anything you want to do without much fear of losing your raster data. So let me just increase the font size of this to something else. Oh, sorry, few. No. And then outline color, let me use this. So to differentiate the state boundary from the international boundary. All right, let me just do something like 1.2 for the state boundaries. All right, so this is good. All right, so you see this, we've been able to label our state right now. And then all right, let me at the labeling. All right, David, right? So just follow the next one I want to do right now. The same process that you used for the first one, which is this. Okay, let me just come back to it. Let me just, so I right click on the shape file that contains what I want to use to label, then go to properties. Are you following, David? All right, so you see something like label feature. So you come to labels. I said because I've labeled, that's why it takes me automatically to label. It could be on general. So you come to label, and then check these label features in this layer. That is the features in this particular state boundary layer. Then click on the field that you want to use. All these fields are on our attribute table of the state boundary. So you click on the appropriate field that you want to use, state, then you know apply. Once you apply, you can vary the size of the text. You can vary the size of the text. If you want to use 20, you click on 20 and apply. You see, then let me just use something moderate. Let me use 10. Apply. You can bolden it. Just make sure you are following standard cartographic rules. Then you can change the font type. Yeah, here. You can change the font type, you can change as many things as possible, but then we might not be able to go through everything right here, so you need to do the extra research on your own. So let me label the major rivers to just the way I labeled that. So you right click on it, go to properties, and then go to the labels, then label features in this layer, then I will label it with name, then I'll just put it in italics, and then label it. So River Niger and River Benue. Yes, so you can increase the font if you like, the font size rather, if you like, and then you can, return it to how it is if you like to. So you can do so many things with your um, data. So that's with the labeling. And then I said, we've labeled two layers right now. If you want to label the third layer too, and your work won't be clumsy or something, you can go ahead too. If you have a reasonable layer that you want to edit, or let me say label, let me just use this ID to label the third layer right here. And then just click OK. Yeah, 000, because that's what's on the IDs, 000 everywhere. So don't forget that what is carrying the zero, this ID, is this, they are these points. That is why you see them close to the point, close to the point. You see Edo, zero on top of it, Kogi here, the red dot, then you see zero on top of it, Taraba, zero. So it's because they're the ones that are carrying the field that we used to label. So you see that whatever thing you label will be close to the polygon or the point or the line. You see the rivers, it's because this river is the one that is carrying this river Niger river. That's why they are labeled on the river. Can you see River Niger and River Benue and River Niger? Same thing for the point, but then I don't think this is necessary right now. So that's about your labeling. Yes, that's that about labeling. So please, do we have any questions before we proceed? Do we have any questions before we proceed? Steven, um, all right, very good. David, questions? Mr. Yemi, questions? Now, if you want to calculate the area of Nigeria itself, not by state, Abi, not by state. All right, if you want to calculate the area of Nigeria, then you use the international boundary. So you come to international boundary, open the attribute table, create a field, call it area, then you use double, and then right click on it, calculate geometry. It won't work because I've projected my data back to geographic coincidence. So project your data back to PCS, then you calculate the area of Nigeria. Or if you don't want to do that, just come to the state boundary, come to open attribute table, come to this particular field where you have the area, then right click on it, then do the summary or statistics. Yes, statistics. So you see something like total. Is there total? Okay, the sum. So I think the sum should give you the overview of the entire thing on this field. Then it should give you an overview of the area of Nigeria. But then it's just best for you to use the layer itself. Just calculate the geometry from here. I think that's clear, right? All right, very good. Yes, I think in the absence of questions, we need to proceed to the next section of today's training. All right, Joy, can you hear me, please? All right. I'm not sure I'm able to check through your text. So I want to ask, are you good to proceed from here? Then I take it up later for embellishment. Are you ready for the embellishment part right now? Or I should proceed? All right then. So I'll be handing over the class to Joy right now to take us towards embellishment. So this is just the starting point for your map. This is just starting point. This is not the end point. So you need to embellish your map. Decorate it with basic and standard cartographic elements, and that's where Joy will come in right now. So If time permits, I might come in later after she's done with us. So let's have a smooth ride with her. Joy, you can come in. Thank you.